The sign of a great artist is to find beauty in pain. They look at heartbreak and see poetry. They witness struggle and find stories worth telling. They take the raw, messy, uncomfortable parts of being human and somehow transform them into something that makes the rest of us feel less alone. But what if I told you that this isn't just a gift reserved for artists? What if the ability to find beauty in pain, to see extraordinary in what feels broken, is actually a skill we all need to survive? And what if the thing that's blocking you from developing this skill is shame? Today, we're talking about how shame doesn't just make you feel bad about yourself, it literally changes what you are able to see. It creates blind spots that keep you from recognizing the extraordinary nature of your own survival, your own resilience, your own complex, beautiful, messy humanity. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why your so called failures might actually be evidence of something remarkable, and how shifting your vision can change everything about how you move through the world. And if this resonates with you, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and also join my community of 280 women at charliestoolbox.com, because we are going deep on the stuff that really matters. I was reading the latest book review for Elizabeth Gilbert, the lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love from Gia Tortellini. I believe it was either the New Yorker or the Times. And she writes this about Gilbert's latest book about love and loss. All of this is made bearable not only by Gilbert's literary talent, but by her eagerness to find people extraordinary, by the frankness with which she writes about feeling broken, and by her obvious empathy upon encountering brokenness in others. And it had me thinking about the extent to which shame and guilt can remove the extraordinary from your sight, from yourself, and from others. There is a cultural belief that the extraordinary must be packaged without flaws, embarrassing moments without choices that don't make sense, void of actions that have harmed you. Basically, we expect the extraordinary to have survived this life unscathed, and that is a possibility that does not exist. You will clumsily claw in the dark, grasping onto the walls to hold onto something to make sense of the world that's thrashing you around. I think about a friend who spent years believing she was fundamentally broken because she kept choosing partners who treated her poorly. She carried this deep shame about her bad judgment, convinced that smart, worthy people would never fall for manipulation. But when she finally looked at her childhood, raised by a narcissistic mother who alternated between love and cruelty, she began to understand. Her pattern wasn't stupidity, it was survival. She had been trained from birth to normalize chaos and interpret inconsistency as love. Suddenly, her choices weren't evidence of some fatal flaw, but proof of an extraordinary person doing extraordinary things to survive extraordinary circumstances. Most of us hold on to this idea of control and perfection, the belief that if you are the brightest, most informed person with a plan, that you will avoid life's fatal blows. But that is a lie of comfort. The perfect, the extraordinary, they choose wrong. They let too much flow from their mouths and they get in trouble. They overspend. They sleep with the wrong person, they love the wrong person, and they trust the wrong person. They fall easy. They fall for easy tricks because if you live long enough and with courage, you will at one time get swindled. The beauty of artists is that they don't see being swindled as a mark of incompetence. They don't see it as a fatal flaw from a fatal brain. Instead, they see the swindle as a mark of an extraordinary person who survived an extraordinary circumstance. If you think about life, life in itself is an extraordinary circumstance. You came to be under the odds of 1 in 400 trillion. If you are sincere, you live without the cage of shame because you do not deceive yourself into believing that you can outwit living. In a recent New York Times interview with Earl Sweatshirt, he said something that really stopped me in my tracks. He said, "I am not above the human condition, but the context makes it even more powerful." He was describing how he used to approach life with this detached, kind of ironic stance, trolling sincere moments, making fun of earnestness, adopting the cool kind of like whatever attitude that says you're too smart to be caught up in the messiness of actually caring about things. It's that hipster view of living where you stay above it all, where genuine emotion is somehow beneath you. But life, he realized, will trap you eventually. You can't troll your way out of love. You can't be ironically detached when you're holding your child. And he's in love now. He has a baby on the way. And all that cool distance just evaporated. Because the human condition doesn't care how clever you think you are. It will find you. It will make you care. It will make you vulnerable. And the choice becomes, do you fight that reality and stay bitter about losing your cool detachment, or stay bitter about you not being smart enough to outwit life? Or do you surrender to the beautiful trap of being fully and completely human? But if you are insincere, and I would even say maybe even naive, you will punish yourself and others for being a victim of extraordinary circumstances. And the result of that is to only see people as friend or foe, experiences as good or bad, choices as smart or dumb, moments as pride or shame. This binary thinking doesn't just hurt us individually. It's how we create systems that dehumanize entire groups of people. When we can't see our own complexity, we lose the ability to see others as complex too. The person struggling with the addiction becomes just a junkie instead of someone whose brain chemistry was shaped by trauma, genetics, and a society that offered them few alternatives for managing pain. The person who made a financial mistake becomes irresponsible instead of someone navigating a system designed to exploit their vulnerabilities. We lose sight of how racism, poverty, mental illness, family dysfunction, and 1,000 other forces shape the landscape each person has to navigate. The dumb, the wrong, the ugly, the dirty, the failure will be seen as a flaw to be ignored or deleted, and not the product of history, childhood, lineage, politics, and society. The messy, complex, beautiful, strange middle will be lost to you. You won't be able to access all human experiences and emotions. And what is the point of living if not to experience it all? When an actor has to play an unsavory character, interviewers, they always ask the same question. How can you do this? How can you play such a horrific person? And they always answer the same. To play them, I could not concern myself or condemn them. Instead, I had to understand how they came to be. It is the only way that they could play these characters with sincerity, and it is their responsibility to portray the full spectrum of humanity, including the sickening aspects. When you can see the circumstances that created yourself, and you see yourself as a reflection of this world, only then can you see the extraordinary, the gift of living, and most importantly, the truth that every action was just you living. What does it actually look like in practice, though? It looks like my friend who stopped introducing herself at parties by apologizing for her awkwardness and instead began sharing her genuine curiosity about people. It looks like the father who stopped seeing his son's ADHD as something to be fixed and started seeing it as a different kind of brilliant mind navigating a world that wasn't built for him. It looks like the woman who stopped hiding her bankruptcy and started talking openly about how medical debt taught her that financial security was never really about personal virtue anyway. It looks like seeing yourself, all of yourself, as extraordinary, not despite your brokenness, but because of how magnificently you've learned to live with it. So, let's recap what we've covered today. Shame acts like a filter that distorts your vision, forcing you to see yourself and others through a binary lens, good or bad, smart or dumb, worthy or worthless. But when you remove that filter and start seeing yourself and things with sincerity, you begin to recognize that what looks like failure is often evidence of extraordinary people surviving extraordinary circumstances. Your mistakes aren't fatal flaws, they're proof that you've been brave enough to live. Here's what I want you to leave with. The same circumstances that created your pain also created your strength. The same experiences that brought you shame also brought you empathy. The same struggles that make you feel broken also prove your resilience. You are not damaged goods trying to become worthy. You are already extraordinary, learning to see it. So your call to action is very simple, but it is not going to be easy. This week, I want you to catch yourself when you slip into that binary thinking, when you notice yourself categorizing an experience as purely good or bad. I want you to pause. Ask yourself, what's the complex story here? What circumstances shape this? What extraordinary survival is hidden in what looks like ordinary or even painful experiences? Start with yourself, then extend that generous vision to others. Because once you learn to see the extraordinary in your own brokenness, you'll never look at the world the same way again.